Hey, broken salespeople, welcome to the workshop. My name is Red, and we are here to help fix broken sales systems. Today, I'm doing something a little different. I haven't done interviews before, but in order to help you guys out as much as humanly possible, I felt this was the next step for you. That in order for you guys to fix your own businesses, to fix your own sales techniques, you needed examples to live by. You needed to know the people who are out there flying by the seat of their pants, eating what they kill, 100% commission, running their own business, pure entrepreneur mindset. And that's really where we want to go from here. Teach you guys these things so that you can be more successful and start implementing maybe some of their strategies into your business. I have Kiara Hawkins with me. Ugh, already tongue-tied. She runs a business, but I don't know much about her. We've kept it vague on purpose. I am going to be just as surprised as you guys are. I want to really talk to her about what she's doing in her business, how she's running it, and figure out what ways we could work together, fix some problems she has, and really just have a real conversation about what she's doing. So Kiara, I apologize for being a behemoth with like from the Northeast with a tongue that doesn't pronounce words with the letter R in them.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. So again, like I was saying, I really want to start to understand your business. We've talked very, very quickly. I know you do some real estate work, but I don't know much more than that. So kind of give
So,
me the overview.
so I'm Kiara. I'm based out of Atlanta, Georgia. I am a licensed real estate agent. That's kind of what pays the bills, but my passion is branding. So I have a entity on the side under the umbrella of Viera called Aacon, and I focus specifically on brand niche, the voice part, what you do before you go to the marketer and mass produce those cards and flyers and start posting and then stop and say, oh, I need to go and change that. Or I need to delete that. You know, we've all done that. Got the cards made and then we're like, oh, I'm missing something. Or the flyer that went out with, typos on it. So that's what I do collectively.
Okay. So you have the real estate to pay the bills. So you're in a really cool position then, because your full-time job is an entrepreneurial job.
Correct.
So
Correct. So this is my second year. So I was licensed for 2 years. And then in February of this year, a lot of the people I was affiliate marketing with were like, you should start charging people for those talks you have. And I was like, what talks? And they're like, you're always helping people. You're always, talking. And I was like, I never thought of it like that. But I looked up and saw that people were making money. We would have coffee or, lunch or even club. And next thing you know, they're like running this idea that we talked about and making money. And people were like, you're a business coach. And I was like, okay. So I added that in, which is awesome because basically I'll sell you a house and then start a business, or people who start businesses will turn around and sell you a house.
okay. So the real estate side is really not the passion project right now. It's building
No.
your own branding business.
Yes.
Okay. So I like this because I talk real estate all day, every day.
And I tell people all the time it's trending. People like to jump into stuff that's trending. So real estate, everybody wants to be in real estate and everybody wants to be in Forex. It's just always trending. So
Yeah.
I realized that I was trending too, because, I'm in real estate, but I don't love it,
It's tough to love because you have to wear so many different hats at once, and it's gladiatorial to a degree that it's not HGTV.
No, it's not. I wish like that's what sold me. And to be honest, what I discovered in doing real estate is that if you're not interacting with people in a way that makes you comfortable, my way is talking, and I know what I like to talk about. I call it the echo chamber, but a lot of times when we're not in that, it becomes really easy to hate, we're doing anything that's not what we want to do. So yes, I like doing real estate and I like people to a certain degree, but I started really not liking people doing real estate.
And I understand that, especially in this market where there's only 2 months of inventory out there.
Exactly. And then they say, oh, I don't want to suffer and I don't want to settle. And I'm like, well, you should have saved more money.
Yeah. Or the the offer that we put in an offer 10 grand under asking price. Why didn't it get accepted?
Because it was
they
10
got 40
grand
offers.
under. And it was like people I've learned are so entitled.
Hmm.
So I had to, that pride and ego, and that's one of the main issues that I've been having. I know you can't tell, but I'm 5 feet, 125 pounds. I'm 28, but I look every bit of 22. And
I'm on the
people
other end
try
of the
to,
scale. I'm 34. I look
he
74. I'm like Gandalf
does
the
not.
Orange.
I cannot say he does not. But people try to bulldoze me a lot. You know,
Yes.
they think they can smooth run me over. And in these last 2 years, I've earned nicknames like, Catalyst, Firestarter, Bulldog, and I felt like it has a lot to do with, oh, she's so cute, or I've gone into closing, they're like, oh, that's the agent, and I'm like, oh, you don't want to see me with the business, you know?
And as somebody, I've worked with a lot of women, and you have, and I don't want this to all be about real estate because that's not what you're passionate about.
Take
So,
me away.
yeah, but as a woman in real estate, it's tough. Like, I know how difficult it is in terms of, well, I don't actually know. I'm a big bearded guy. Like,
I
it's
can.
like I have an idea of, I'll put it that way.
Oh,
Like, they don't expect you to know the difference between like block foundation, poured foundation. They don't expect you to
no, no.
walk through, okay, you've got 220 service.
I've had investors tell me that they didn't want me to come onto the property because I was a girl. And I'm like, what? I'm selling it. I need to see what you're doing. And they're like, well, I don't want you to get hurt and it's going to be dust. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Are you joking me?
Yeah, you're a woman, you're not made of glass.
Me definitely. But even on the other side of the spectrum, to transition over to business in general, being an entrepreneur in general, when it comes to image, I've been at the grocery store,
Mhm.
with my kids and just ran in to grab juice or ice cream because of the pandemic. I might leave them at home. I run in and be like, hey, would you like to see some housing opportunities? Or can I put a flyer in the break room? And they'll be like, they'll look me up and down like,
Mhm.
I don't know if I can trust you. And I'm like, because I don't have my blazer on, because I took my watch off. Like, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Or do I have to, like, you want to see, like, I have to come in here in a full suit all the time, or you don't even hear the value of what I'm offering?
And being in a full suit doesn't work anymore anyway. Nobody wants to. Why do you dress up and look like a politician or a mortician and expect people to trust you? Like, it makes
That
no
was
sense
the
to me.
that was the first mistake I made, right? So I was with a big brand when I first, got my license,
And let's not
and
say the brand on this part. Like, no, not throw anybody under a
I
bus.
promise I would be like, and they follow me on all social media, so no, thank you.
Yeah.
But I was at this big brand, and they were talking about, the dressing up and the suits. So I did all of this, and people started, when I met them in person, they were
Mhm.
like, "You don't look like on your card." And I was like, "What is this?" So I finally started digging in, like, "What does that mean?" They're like, "You look stiff, you look expensive, you look mean," and I'm like, what? So people were telling me like, you're so cool, you're so fun, you're so nice, that I wouldn't have called you if I had just got your card because you look stiff.
Well, so I used to do sales. I worked in the trucking industry.
Mhm.
Yes, I did fuel card sales for trucking companies. And
Okay.
my boss at the time wanted me to wear a suit to talk to trucking companies.
What?
Yes.
I, I'm
So
from
here
West
I
Memphis, a
was,
little
and
trucking
not
place.
just like a suit, like as yuppie as you could imagine, like the khakis and then like the blue blazer with the brass
Not the
buttons on it.
khakis.
Like I have to meet Miffy at the yacht club.
No, they were gonna run from you anyway.
Yeah. So that level of authenticity. So that I think is a great pivot point in terms of getting into branding right now, in
Hmm.
terms of what you're really excited about. Because let's not talk about what you don't like. Let's talk about
Right.
the business you want to actually own.
So being and doing what I didn't like for a second helped me to really identify who I was and what I liked. And I ended up getting my first client. I'll tell you that story, and I can't make this up. I know I'm pretty poised right now, but I have a mouth on me. Fire starter, catalyst, and bulldog. You don't get those names by
No,
accident.
you don't get that by pretty please.
No, so I was in this open house, and this lady came in, and I was just bored anyway. That's just what they tell us to do to get clients, which wasn't working. So
Yeah.
I was sitting in there, and this lady comes in and she says, what do you think? And I told her, I don't give a damn if you buy this house. I'll help you buy whatever house you want to buy. Like, You want this one, it's fine. I really don't care what you pick. I just want you to pick me.
Yeah.
She was like, this is my agent.
Yes.
And I was like, what? So she goes on to buy a $358,000 house.
Okay.
The highest I had sold yet. And I was like, after closing, I was like, why did you pick me? And she's really one of my good friends now. And she was like, you were so real. It just happened. I knew that if I was out with you, you were going to just do what you just did. Just blurt it out. I don't like this one, or this one smells like water. And she was like, that I've been able to trust you as a person and gauge how you feel, because I know that you're going to say whatever you feel. And I was like, wow, wait a minute. So people are okay with that. So I started paying attention to people who were, happy doing what they were doing. I realized a couple of things. They curse, they don't wear the suit. Um, I had a seminar with the guy. I showed up all dressed up. He showed up in some blue jeans and a t-shirt. My approach was, thank you for being here, blah, blah, blah. He was like, look, y'all want to make money? I own 2 businesses. Y'all want to make money? You want to drive the Porsche I got outside? And everybody was like, yeah. And I was like, what? So I started realizing, like, the more I talked to people off guard, they were like, oh, you should have a podcast. You should talk to people. I would shop. What do you do? They would just talk to me about, everyday things and be like, oh, I just love you so much. I'll shop with you. I'll buy whatever you're selling. And it was ridiculous, and I was like, this whole time we've been trained the opposite way.
Yeah.
Give them the representative.
Yes.
Give them the representative. And they don't want that. Like, they
your
know
customer
this
service
is the
voice.
representative. They know this is and I did property management before real estate. So I'm trained in sales. And even with that, I was never the manager. I never took a promotion because I knew I wanted out. But everyone would always say, you should be the manager. And the manager used to be like, Kiara takes all conflict resolution, because everyone wanted to talk to me, because I would tell them, well, that was stupid, or, why is your baby daddy chasing you across the parking lot? Oh, well, Miss Kiara, why did you slip that rent in yesterday? I was still here. You could have knocked on the door. Well, I was ashamed. Well, you were ashamed when you got that late notice too, So it's like having those conversations, like, people could just take you at face value and hear what you had to say, versus one of my coworkers was talking to a young lady one time, and he cursed her out. And I laughed because it was obscene. It was crazy. It was a world star moment,
Yeah.
And he says, I want to talk to her. And I was like, what you want to talk to me for? Because you better not come over here using them choice words for me, So he was like, no, Kiara, let me tell you what happened. And they were like, how do you do that? Because he was upset. He was irate. And I was like, being I meant what I said. He better not come over here cussing me out. I'm going to cuss his ass out.
Yeah.
And he knew that. So he was like, you know what? You get me. We're on the same page. You know how upset I am. Let's talk. And I was like, I want to help people be that way all the time. It's funny you talked about Gary Vee.
Yep.
I heard a smidget of something that he said judgment is preventing people from basically making money. And I sat down and was like, he is right. There's a lot of things that I want to say that I don't know if they would be received. But I have a total of 4 people in the last 2 days that have come back and said, yo, I'm making money. One of them is a photographer, but he's been ashamed because his biggest thing is marijuana.
Yes.
So he was like, I don't know if people want to see this because it's weed and I might not get big customers. So we worked on that, and we, basically, I call it the fuck you. We got to find that. We got to find that one thing. And I feel like once you find that one thing, what's that biggest thing that you're ashamed of? That's probably gonna be your big selling point. So he's getting all of these bookings now just because people want to smoke weed at the shoot. And he's like, don't you know I've been hiding all this stuff? And I'm like, my sister had the print shop, and she called and was like, I feel like I'm begging people. And I was like, okay, well, tell them no. She was like, oh, then they're going to give me bad referrals. Don't you know she's had more people come back? Like, you told me no. Why'd you tell me no? Okay, I understand. And she's like, this whole time she's been putting herself under this pressure, which has been backing her up in her business. Because if you don't do that, you don't do that.
And it makes your life more miserable that way too, because you have to fake it the whole time.
She was ready to give up. And she was like, I can't do this anymore. I was like, well, you're putting people before you. Be yourself. And when she started saying that, that's not my culture. That's my thing now. I tell people that's not my business culture. Yeah. Oh, it's a whole new world now. People are like, okay, so what is your culture? Okay, so, how can we collaborate? Partner. Those words make the difference.
The idea of knowing who your who do you want to work with and mimicking that style, as opposed to Like the whole idea of wearing a suit and you're going to attract people in suits. I don't want to work with people in suits.
I fell in my heels trying to show houses.
Yeah.
I have had a total of 3 nude photo shoots
Okay.
because I came out of the suit. I was like, I have all these pictures of suits and they're just sitting here because what do people tell me? You look stuffy. I've got more hits and likes and followings with just cut up jeans and t-shirts with those, with my website at the top. And they're like, what do you do? You look great. And I'm like, oh my, wow, people are saying something.
So there's a woman
Crazy.
I work with specifically. She's out of Mississippi. Her name's Nita. And I just picture her like you remind me a lot of her. She's a young Black woman, and she's just the woman you want to go to brunch with.
Go, Nita.
Yeah, she's just that personality. And I've been trying to get her to break that mold, start doing videos of being like her, because she has this awesome personality. Once she stops trying to be in 3/4 profile with her arms crossed and
It's a no for me. And I just I had choice words with someone yesterday just because I was trying to I was having it was another business owner and we were talking and I just told her like, look, you get what you give back. So I'm not gonna say that it's all butterflies and unicorns. It's not always perfect. People do quote unquote clap back. I mean, I am young, we're gonna use the jargon. They do clap back, they get bad, they break bad with you, but you just have to know that you're coming from a place of love. So with her, I was like, look, I'm trying to help you. She said she didn't need my help. I was like, okay, respect it or neglect it, and we're done.
yeah.
Leave it right there, block them, turn it off. But I didn't break bad with her. But my thing was, I was able to go make a whole live
Mm-hmm.
that people have now been saying, you should do a real talk with Kiara now. And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, we love when you do this. But it was like, if everyone loves that, that's actually one of my number one sales tips. Okay. Know your business so you can know your client. You
Yes.
really don't need a lot of stats. I know who I am, so I know what does and doesn't work. You'd be surprised how many people it's a consult required
Mm-hmm.
because I will tell you, oh, I can't work with you.
Mm-hmm.
No. Or I'll say, you know what, you don't really need a lot of help. You have to know who you are, know what your business is, because other than that, you end up reverting back to that traditional sales stuff and it doesn't work anyways. And you just save face by saying, you know what, you're doing great. Or I had a girl say, I'm just making a little money on the side. I don't really care about all that. And I said, I can't help you with a business that you don't care about.
No.
She was like, so what do you tell me what to do? I was like, well, call me when you care.
Yeah. It's amazing because I do coaching consults as well.
Mhm.
The thing I listen for the most is when people blame everybody else. That is my red flag when, like, especially
Woo.
real estate agents. Oh, that doesn't work. Open houses don't work. You're getting in front of people and you're talking about real estate. How does
How
that
they gonna tell you what don't work?
Yeah, like how it all works. I have my boss now. I work with Jared James Coaching. He grew up. His mom was an agent, and he cold called the phone book. It works. It's not efficient, but it works.
You know
So
what? And that's another thing too. Like I try to sit down and see who they are before I give them any tips. Cause like you said, there's an array of things. A lot of things I deal with is people saying, I don't really like talking. Well, then you need to automate the hell out of your business. You
yeah,
need to make it so that you don't have to talk, which
you
means you're
should
going to
automate
use
the
your
hell out of your
brain.
business, regardless of whether you like talking or not. Like
Cause so
regardless,
you can
eventually
scale
you
up.
get to the point you want to put yourself out of business. You want to do that where
Yes.
eventually you don't have to work.
Yes.
Yeah.
And because it works itself. And they're like, well, that takes a long time. And I got to research this. And I'm like, well, look, you don't want to talk. Take the time, do the brain work, and then let your business flow. I'm not going to start you with doing what we're doing or interviews or videos when you don't like to talk. And I get that a lot. You don't like to talk, but you want money. And I'm like, well, what makes people want to, are y'all just going to have not one to talk in common? They probably don't want to buy it. Like, how are you going to convince them? Like, me and
So
you are mute,
yeah, and it's either going to be you spend the time talking to people one at a time, or you spend the time automating your business. The time's going to pass regardless.
regardless. I completely agree with that.
Like no matter
Now,
what, you're going to be old one day.
and it comes fast, okay? It's running away.
Yeah,
Um, I try to I use Calendly a lot. I love
I
Calendly.
love Calendly.
So I do need to open my hours. Thank you for pointing that out, because I will say I will be humble enough. I'm serious, because I appreciate being coached, because I know that we just grow and we just change so fast. Like, this went from something I was doing impromptu to charging to, like, this is a thing now. So it was like, I need someone like you constantly telling me like, hey, so I need to open my hours, because I was so happy that I was able to set my hours, that I picked my favorite ones, and I completely neglected my clientele.
Especially for people who are trying to build businesses because those are, I'm
Right.
assuming, like, if they were a multi-million-dollar business and could work their business 9 to 5, then they would
Right.
probably have tens of $1,000s to invest right off the bat.
No, you're 100%. Because when you said that, I was like, okay, especially as a startup, like, because this is like this would be my first year in the actual branding.
Yep.
I was like, you know what? Most of these people are working 9 to 5s and they're trying to start businesses on the side, and you're only open until like 5, And that's mostly because I have my own kids, but you don't hear them now. Like, you can move around, it just was something that needed to be brought to my attention. So I appreciate that.
Even if they do move around, even if they do show up, one of my coaches, his name is Paco. He had, like, his daughter, his wife is a cop. So if she was working and, like, he was watching the daughter, he put a t-shirt on her, realtor in training, and just took her out. Like, what you have to.
I'm so tickled. So I have, it was so funny because I used to have that, like, and I still do. I'm getting outrageous with the branding. Like, my thing is brand everything, because what happens is, after they see it so many times, they start asking, that's just it. I've had people even be like, you don't do real estate anymore? And I'm like, go to my website. Like, that's my thing. Like, it's automated. Go to my website. You'll see exactly what I do. But it's funny
So you
because
have
they
everything
keep
sorted through
seeing.
funnels then, I'm assuming.
Yes, yes. Because the whole thing with me is, that's not all I do. Those are the two that are active. So it's
Well,
kind of making sure to keep them separate, so that, like you said, when you scale it up, that you don't have them all intertwined, because I plan on, I can't help them but scaling up.
well, and the idea is eventually you're going to want to gradually move out of the real estate side. You'll probably keep your
I'm trying to move.
yeah, you'll keep the referrals, because why
Oh,
wouldn't you
yeah.
take 25%?
So the goal is, so another unique thing about my business, I call myself an intuitive coach, because not necessarily a business coach, because I am real big on who you are as a person.
Good.
So even like one of my biggest things is I do a vision slip for people who's like, I just haven't been able to focus. And the vision slip talks about like your favorite color, your favorite shape, your favorite childhood memories, like your life goals, like what things are you, what hobbies and what extracurricular are you already involved in. That's going to be the first people that we target, because you already have something that you can relate to them with. So even if like you are an entertainer, but I don't want to use them, say you're a stylist, but you love to sew. Well, we're going to go to the sewing club and we're going to go there, and then we're going to enter, I call it backdooring. We're going to backdoor them with sewing, and then, or we're going to talk to them about sewing, and we're going to backdoor the whole, maybe I can do y'all hair, or maybe y'all can come by my shop, instead of just jumping in, because that didn't work for me. Just, hey, this is what I do. They're like, no one cares. Because remember,
No,
they buy
as
into
you
you.
jump into the pitch, they don't care. And what that gives you too, that I love, is you're actively listening to who they are as a person, as opposed to just giving them a sales pitch.
So you just got me to my favorite part of my sales pitch, which, as you can tell, is really like, so it's authentic, because it really is my favorite. I like to go into like the who, you know what I mean? Like, the brand voice is my absolute favorite. I want to hear you in it. You know what I mean? Like I said, I want the thing that you feel is judgy and shame, but it's like your secret pleasure. That's my most exciting part. Like, who are you and how do you relate to that? Don't come and say, I want to do this because other people were doing it. Like, I ask people, what's my favorite thing in the world to do? Talk. What do I like to talk about? I like to pick things apart and put them back together. Okay, exactly. What do you like to do that with? Well, what do people call you for? I love you.
Same idea.
Well, not like that. The brand, yeah, the concept. I'm like, I'm not with that. But like, I like to. People usually call me and say, "Hey, what do you think?" And I started catching on to that, but because it wasn't an actual product, it took me a minute to catch on to what I loved, because it wasn't like sewing or, singing. It was something then when I said talking, everybody was like, so what are you going to do with that? And I was like, I don't know. You know,
There's so
I
many people who
mean,
don't know how to communicate, especially since you're younger. There's a big dearth of knowledge of people who are expert communicators.
I love talking. And what's been amazing is we're able to actually role play,
Mhm.
which has really skyrocketed with people. Cause I'm quite eccentric if you haven't been. So I can be a lot of different people. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be an angry customer. I'm gonna be a happy customer. I'm gonna be the customer that's trying to date you. I'm gonna be the customer that's trying to get $10 off, you know? So
Yeah,
this has really been exciting for me. And I realized like, okay, this is something I can do all day. And I ask people, what can you do all day and all night and not, you know, and not fall asleep or fall asleep and wake back up doing? For me, it was talking. For some people, it's playing a game. That's where you need to find your business in then. It needs to be something over there in that genre then, because that's the thing that you won't let go.
Okay. So what I'm hearing right now is you're a pure extrovert. You're motivated by being in big groups and talking to everybody.
As long as I'm talking. No, I'm just joking. Yes.
Well, no, but that's so I've always been an introverted mind. Like I'm very good at being outgoing, but I've always been introverted. You've started doing very good at asking, and this is something that I would try and point you towards in your sales process.
Mm-hmm.
Go deeper in terms of what they're like. You've talked about childhood memories and things like that, but when you go with the who, don't just ask about who they are. Ask them to create their ideal customer avatar too, and make sure
Yes.
you do
Okay.
that. Like my ideal customer avatar in this program, I call him Ryan. I've got two. I've got Ryan and Jess.
So they have names. I like
I've
that.
got stock images too for them. Like
Well,
I've got,
I've drawn mine, but I didn't think to take it that way. And that's funny that you said that because I drew mine and I cut out like what kind of hair she was gonna be and all this. And so I was like, she's gonna be my best friend. I'm gonna like grow her up. But I didn't think for them to do that. I just thought I liked it. You know what? Why did that just click?
yeah,
So we do the internal. I need to know what their external business
yeah. So
looks like.
you
Like
need
that's
to
what
know
it looks
who
like on the
they
inside. But I
are.
need to know what that.
Yeah, it's two different who's now. It's not just who they are, it's
Right,
also
right,
who they want to work with.
right.
One of
Draw your demographic.
my favorite stories is I think it was in Expert Secrets. It was one of the Russell Brunson books.
Okay.
I don't know if you've read those at all.
I have not.
So it was in the story, it was a guy who was trying to sell like beauty products to Sally Beauty, which like
Okay.
beauty brand. I don't know much about them. I'm a very pasty and woodsman looking man, but so he was there, and what they were saying was he would be in the meeting and show the lip gloss and okay, so it's this, it's made out of this, it's got this chemicals. And the representatives from Sally said, you know what? I don't think Christy would like this. Okay, that's fine. And then he showed his next product. Now Christy wouldn't like this. Christy was their customer avatar. And it's Sally
Like,
Beauty.
who is Christy?
Yeah, Christy was, well, he was there just saying, well, why don't we bring Christy in? I'll see if she likes it. No,
Right.
Christy was not a real person, but they had a
Mm,
room full of pictures of Christy.
gotcha.
But to
Gotcha.
literally create that customer avatar, like literally go into stock images once they talk and say, is this kind of what you're looking for?
That sounds so fun too. And I
Yeah.
love making it fun.
But when you do that and then they can visualize and they're like, okay, this is the person I want to work with.
Then we can find them because that's what I had to do too. Like I said, the person who's because I was getting a lot of referrals, you know,
Mhm.
or I'm getting a lot of referrals, and they're like, this person trying to start a business, and this person trying to start a business,
Mhm.
and then I get to them, and I'm like, you know, because now, like you said, I know my avatar. I'm like, this is not it, this is not it. And now the people that I do work with, I can resonate with. Like, it's so different. It's like, you know, hey girl, how's it going? Or hey, look, I'm following up, and they're calling me now, like, hey, I did this. I'm so happy. Like, I've got donations and Cash App gifts, and I'm like,
And
you don't owe me
and
anything. And they're like, you're my friend now.
but now you have it where you've got diehard fans
Yes, and yes,
as
pros.
opposed to just client number 8147.
I cannot.
And
No,
but
no,
that's what
I hate that. So that was the issue I had with trying to get coached initially. So
yes.
my coach was giving me these generic ass. Yes, now you getting me warmed up here.
Yep.
Giving me
That's what
these,
I'm going for.
giving me these generic ass. You know, like go here, call here, start with friends and family. And I was like, you know, the person that I am, I was like, how many people you know, like, I don't know. I've just had one of those days where at first, like you said, that judgment, I was like, well, she's so nice and people are going to be mad at me because I'm already known for being flip at the mouth. And then one day I was like, okay, it's time, you know, because I can only hold this composure for so many minutes, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, so how many people you show this to? She was like, what? I was like, no, seriously. Like, so like you got a piece of paper printed, which means you already knew who I was and what I was going to do when I walked in here.
Yeah. This
She
is a
was like,
job interview.
right, this is it. I was like, so you're not helping me. And she was like, oh my goodness, Kiara. You know, and I was like, no, look, you're telling me and everybody else do the same shit, which is why I'm not getting no clients. She was like, well, what do you want me to do? I was like, I want you to ask me what I like to do, where I go already, what kind of connects I already have. I want you to tap into me. And
Mhm.
she was like, well, you got it all figured out. So that's what another way that branding came about. But I've since then had more agents come who are with firms who have coaches and say, can you help me brand? Because I'm trying to brand like you did. And I'm like, you know, because that we're all getting the same Google, YouTube, cookie
Well,
cutter. Do this.
the greatest thing about real estate in my mind is you get to pick your own headache. You don't get to
Yes.
live without any. You just get to pick them.
That's fair. That's fair and
Yeah.
that's accurate.
What I would do for you would be I'd want you to be very specific in terms of like from a real estate side of things. My company calls it the Core 100, and it's basically just networking with a strategy behind it. So what you would do is you would go to, say, the local pizza place,
Okay.
and you create that partnership right there. Listen, every time somebody buys a house, I'm going to grab 2 pies from you. I'm going to bring them.
Affiliate marketing.
Yep, I'm going to buy those 2 pies from you. The only thing you have to promise me is when you go to buy and sell your house, I'm your girl.
Deal. Affiliate. I call it affiliate marketing.
But you expand it out to everything.
Everything. So
So you know a
that is
contractor, you know like it's not just the title and the mortgage. You do it to everything. And now you're leveraging their sphere as well as your own.
and I'm pretty good at that. And you know, I'm not from here. I'm not from Atlanta. I'm actually from Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay.
But you would think I was from here.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, hey, Miss Kiara, you know, I mean, I do go to the pizza place and I'm always feeling bad. I'm like, what's his name? Because I was like, hey, Kiara. But the thing is, like you said, I actually offer that as a service because I really can connect people like that.
Yeah.
And it is a gift, like you said, because that talking is building. And, you know, like my mom asked me, I was like, I need to go to the grocery store. When we were out, she was like, oh, we're going to go this one. I was like, no, 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 no. I need to go to this one. She was like, why? I was like, because those people are looking for me. They're waiting for me. Like, it's a thing. It's how I kind of do my touch point. You know, I go in, buy groceries. How y'all doing? Oh, no, I got this today. The girls are at home. Like, I need to be able to do that. So when I ask for something, it's not that I'm asking for something.
Yeah.
We're buddies now, you know? It's me,
Yeah.
you know?
And that's something like to be the person as opposed to just the salesperson.
Yes. Trying to take, you
Yes.
know, not making any deposits in, you know?
I'm
And
curious, have you done anything with your clients? It's called the JK5 method. Have you heard of that before?
no, talk to
Okay.
me. Because see, what I have learned is I use a lot of methods that I thought I invented that actually exist.
Okay. So the JK5 method, it comes from Jenna Kusher, the
Okay.
Gold Digger podcast.
I want to hear this one.
Okay. Well, so what she does is she has five pillars, so to speak, of her business
Okay.
that she
Okay.
focuses on every single time. So it'd be women entrepreneurs, sales techniques, funnels, whatever those processes are. Those have to be what you have to narrow your clients down to too, is those 5. Because
So
that's
like having your niche.
exactly, but it's more about building what's underneath the niche.
So I have been recently because
Mhm.
you know when you're doing this kind of coaching job, if you're doing like real estate, you know that that's what you're going to get. You kind of can familiarize yourself with the business, you know templates. So what I discovered is I've been getting a vast array. So what I've been doing is really having fun with working with these different ones
Mhm.
because I've done like stylists, I've done apparel, I've done entertainers who now want me to be their managers, photographers, other agents, bloggers. So now I'm kind of figuring out, like you said, picking the ones that I really enjoy. because some of them need a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not into that, but I'm learning that now because I wasn't expecting to, boom at this point. I wasn't expecting the referrals to come in as fast, but I'm quickly learning, like, I like working with, I like working with the hair. I don't like working with hairstylists. That's just because they are so diva. And I'm not into,
I
no, they
wouldn't
are.
know.
Well, you see, I'm natural. So, but the thing is, like, even with that, like, I'm natural, I
Yeah.
don't do that. So it's hard. Like for me, I'm talking to them about business and they just want to jump into the details. I know it's 14 inches, boo. And did you see the curl? And I'm like, okay, moving on. Like, is the curl important? And then they like, oh, you need to let me do your hair. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to work with them.
How
Barbers,
familiar are you with disc personality profiles?
I've taken mine
Okay.
and I'm like
Stylists
right
are,
in the middle.
so like, okay. See, I would have put you as a high DI personality.
I would have too, but for some reason, I am in the right hand quadrant, upper, but like right towards the axis.
Okay.
I'm sorry, you're looking at it. Like, so right in the middle of the
It
axis, I'm
depends because
like
I've
right
seen
to the
it
right.
like a couple of different ways where the dominant is in the top left or in the top right.
I can't remember, but that's me.
Okay. So it depends that's either the high D or the high I, depending on what test you've done it at.
And I like to think that I'm pretty centralized, but I discovered this. I was working with a conscious fitness group. I did discover this about myself.
Okay.
Depending on how I'm feeling about me, depends on which Kiara you get.
Yeah, that's
Because
exactly why
sometimes
I
I'm
probably was saying you're in the middle, because you're a very different personality as a real estate agent, as a branding person, as a mom, it depends when you're filling it out and you're picking those 4 adjectives, what scenario is playing in your head.
And well, I'll say this. I'll give you. I'm pretty much. It's 2.
Mhm,
Okay. So when I'm energized and I'm rested,
mhm.
I'm really chatty, really enthusiastic. It's like a party.
Yeah.
When I'm tired or it's like super important, I'm very cutthroat, very dry, straight to the point. And I've seen myself go to those extremes within like an hour. Like
Okay.
if I get tired of doing something, then I'm like, all right. But I'm very vocal. So
Okay.
I'll be like, all right, that's enough. We about to finish this up. But people who know me are like, it's time. She's about to work.
How are you with the fine details?
I am a Capricorn.
Okay.
So
That I don't
I
know
like
anything
to
about that. I was told I was a Leo and it means I'm a cocky bastard. That's about the like.
I cannot think. I wouldn't have gave you. Okay, so what that means is when I'm mostly, I would say I'm pretty good at the fine details because what I like to not describe, I'm not a visionary.
Okay.
That's why I'm good at brand critique. If you give me a vision, I can critique that and I can fine tune that. But if you want me to come up with something, I'm not the idea person. I'm the person you bring the idea to.
Okay.
Did that answer
So
it?
it's not so much the creative side, but what about like things like paperwork?
Oh, I execute that. So in my property management, I did based on income and tax credit. So it's just repetitive, repetitive, repetitive. And of course you get docked points.
Mhm.
So I'm pretty good with that. And I'm really big into systems just because like I said, I'm into automating and I'm not one, I guess because of how I was trained with that whole, I don't remember that. I'm like, well, on September 28th at 4:04.
Yeah.
So I guess I've gotten into that.
Okay, so you've learned, because normally when you're the high I person, like the uber extrovert, the talkative personality, I call it parrots. They're bright, talkative, colorful, but they're distracted by mirrors and shiny objects.
You know what's funny? I had a manager apologize to me, and I didn't even know. She's in her 60s, so I just thought she was crazy. But she pulled me to the side and she said, "I didn't think you were going to be good at this job because it's detail oriented and you have a wonderful personality, but I just saw you, screwing up all of our paperwork, and I ended up being like their top leasing consultant, and to a point where like I was going to other places helping out." But I can see that because I get that a lot. People are like, I wouldn't have picked you for that.
Well,
And
in
then I'm the
real
one that
estate specifically, they tend to be very detail averse.
really.
Well, they're the pretty people who talk to everybody. They could go to the bar, talk to the bar stool for 40 minutes and get the bar stool to come home with them. Like,
So yeah, I'm in the middle. I do both.
yeah.
I do. because even when I go to houses, like I'll tell them, if they really, they're the ones that's like, oh, this house is beautiful. And I'm like, I look, and then I walk and then I'll get excited. Or I'll tell them, I don't like it, look wall to wall. And then they just do it. And they'll be like, oh, this is cracked, this is creek. And I'm like, okay, I'm in the middle then.
Yeah,
But if
because
I see something I
like,
like, I'm jumping on it.
like at that point, I usually say it as research tells us, and I could just tell it. Like I understand you love this kitchen is fluorescent green and like looks like Baby Yoda exploded in here, but for me, like research
I
tells
cannot.
color.
No, when it comes to that, so I definitely think it depends on who I'm talking to, because I did have one of those come in. Well, it was a business partner that came by and was like, hey, I just want to come and say hi and check on you, and then tried to run a business idea by me. And another partner was over, and he told him, wait, are you here as a friend or a partner? Because he heard him kind of mixing, and he saw me kind of like, I was like excited, but wait, are we doing business? Are we, because I am different, depend, like you said. So when he started throwing that pitch out, I flipped, and he was like, well, we did this, and this. So I'm looking at my phone. He's like, you're not listening to me, and that's probably why you keep repeating yourself. And I said, actually, I'm looking your company up.
Yeah.
Brand new, it just released. You only got this many followers, this many views, and you just did this. And so what's your position in the company? And he was like, what? And my friend was like, yo, I just told you, you need, like, if you were doing business, you should have said you were doing business, because she's different when she's doing business. She's not. And he did. He said, well, when I talked to you, and check on you, you seem so chatty and naive. I made a mistake. And I was like, did he just say that out loud?
Yeah, but it's a matter of like not quite ask the permission, but figure out if there's a need first before you start pitching.
Yes, because I mean, I'm trained in sales, so I know a pitch, and that's why I don't do that to people, because let's just be real. You ever, you do sales, but you ever been to the grocery store, and
Yes,
I've been
often.
on both ends with I've been on both sides. So I've been like, we've had clients come in and like curse us out, and they be like, she should be ashamed. She worked here. And it's like, look, you don't know what these people do, but just don't try to, I don't know what you do. So I'm not going to try that tactic on you, because you might be like, oh, I know exactly what you're doing. And I'm like, oh, she doesn't like that, or he doesn't like that. Hey, look, I come in peace. I want to sell something. Can we talk?
But one of my favorite stories that I ever heard, it came from Spin Selling by Neil Rackham. And it
Mhm.
was a guy, he was a professional buyer for a big corporation.
Okay.
And what he would do is people would come in and try and sell him something, and he had index cards in his desk. So once they tried to do like a standing room only close, he didn't even respond. He just pulled out the drawer, boom. All right, you get one more strike. If I hear another one, then you're out of here.
Wow, that's amazing. So
Yeah.
you done, and that goes back to with the branding. That's what I'm telling them. I call it the just another.
Mm-hmm.
Because you go, and I mean, we've all done it. Go scroll on Facebook, go scroll on Instagram, and you'll see. And I tell them, people, when you're going to these marketing people, they're using templates,
Mm-hmm.
because you haven't given them anything to go off. That's your fault. You
Yeah.
go to them and say, I make t-shirts.
Mm-hmm.
I need a logo. And they ask you, what do you want it to look like? What color do you want it to be? And you say, I don't know, make it cute. Then there's a disconnect there, because now they make you what they think is cute. And I've talked to both sides too, because marketers say, I really like it when they come on, with already having a foundation, because it's annoying, because they'll draft something and I don't know. And then they say, can you change the color? And then they'll change the color. And then I still don't like it. And they're like, what don't you like? I don't know, because you don't know your business. You don't know who you are. So really finding that all thing, and that one thing that's going to be different, that he's not going to pull out in the index cards, is going to be that thing that's probably judgy, or like the one thing that you think everybody's going to judge you on, or that you're ashamed of, is going to be one thing he says, I ain't heard this one yet.
Yeah, but I think that will be a big one for you in terms of helping them figure out their ideal customer, their customer avatar. Because once you have somebody in mind, like my Ryan is modeled after somebody that I trained in sales and somebody that I know.
And that's what I was just thinking. I could make, like you said, find those pillars, those ones that I actually enjoy working with, and create their avatars. And then again, it starts to automate itself, and it helps them out too.
But when you have that, and like I can say, okay, I know Ryan won't like this.
Right. And they're
Like,
like, who is Ryan?
but
It's my turn.
yeah, that's how you have to figure it out, is when you start to build that logo for them, that brand for them, it's the same concept. It's okay, well, I may like this, but my customer may not.
And I call that the echo chamber too, because that's something that is an objective that I get a lot.
Mhm.
Oh, I got it, or I did this already, or this one dude said he was gonna call me back. And I asked them who is actually over, like who's like monitoring your business? Who else is actually measuring these things for you? And they're like me. And I'm like, well, when you're in a room full of, house of mirrors, of course it looks good to you. It's you.
Yeah.
So who else are you running by? And he's like, well, my mom. And I'm like, people will lie to you. People will flatter you to death, boost you up, or they'll just stare at you and not give you any feedback. Who's measuring these things? Get out the echo chamber. And that's why I appreciate the feedback from you. Like, go ask a stranger, excuse me, how can I be better?
So when you do that, one of the great things to do is literally make
Mhm.
people like run an ad where they get to pick the logo. Target
I
people
don't
to
do
think.
logos.
But I'm just saying, when you run into people who are trying to fight, just say, listen, it doesn't matter what you like, what your mom likes, it matters what your ideal customer likes.
Right. And who are you selling to? And I ask people that too. Like, is this something that are you trying to help yourself or the world? And I know that we always go deep. They be like, I don't know. I guess I am just so chatty. They're like,
But
well,
you
this is
have to
deep.
you have to be that blunt.
Because if you're just trying to do you, then I have literally seen people who have a business where they're selling clothes. They're the model in the clothes. It's their favorite color. And I'm like,
No,
who's
you
gonna
just
buy
want to
this?
build your own wardrobe at that point.
You just want, right, you just want to see yourself doing something. And
Mhm.
this is for you. If you were doing this for the world, then you have different sizes, different heights, different colors, but you're the only one in all the pictures in your favorite color. You're the only model. And
Mhm.
they're like, well, it's my brand. And I'm like, see, when we're on an ego trip, that pride and ego,
Yeah.
you're not ready anyways. I don't want, not my pillar,
Yes.
not my thing.
Yes. So that's figuring out what their overall sense of purpose is going to be the big motivator.
And that's why I have something called the vision slip. And it's so funny because people don't even realize what they're doing when they do it. And I made this in 2017. It was just like
Mhm.
something I was doing on my lunch break. And I'm just now using it in 2020.
Mhm.
And I would have to say it's amazing. And it came at a time. So I guess the message is, don't keep a journal, write everything down. You don't know when you're going to use it, because I made this in 2017. It was called, I put keynote at the bottom. And 2020, I got frustrated with several different people because of that, trying to identify their purpose. And I'm like, they wanted me to tell them.
No.
And I'm trying to pull it out of them. And so finally, I had a meltdown, and I went and got this sheet out and was like, answer these questions, don't think hard, and answer the first thing come to mind. And they were quiet for a minute and they were scratching. And then we were able to, it was a lifesaver. But it took me almost firing three clients. I said it, firing three clients, because
Yeah.
I felt like I couldn't help them. I felt like there was a point where there was a disconnect, only for me to realize that you're not tapping into stuff that you already have. But that was something that I had threw away. Now it's like one of my favorite things. I'm like, hey, I got this thing called this tactic called the strategy called the vision slip. You're gonna love it. It's my thing now.
Have you integrated that into funnels in your branding business yet?
Let me ask you something. Let me ask your personal opinion on
Of
something business
course.
wise. How do you feel about those tactics? Because I do talk about it, but how do you feel about posting these things publicly and like people stealing strategies and stuff?
Abundance mindset. Let them.
Because I was like, this is gonna end up as a PDF on Google.
Let it.
Somebody's gonna type in and it's gonna
Let it.
pop out.
Yeah, let it. It's
So
an abundance
that's kind of
mindset.
where I was.
Yeah,
That's where I was on that.
yeah. What I think you should do with it, more than do it as a PDF, you do that as a pre-sit down walkthrough. Like, those are the questions that you put into your Calendly link.
Oh, the questionnaire, and that's what I want. That's what I thought. But I was like, what if someone? And that was my ego right there, because I was like, someone's gonna steal my strategy, and it's like,
And let them.
so
Honestly, let them. Like, don't like. Here's the thing: ego goes both ways too. You love this idea, and it sounds like it's working really well for you. somebody else is going to come up with something similar and they're going to love theirs more.
Okay, and I'll take that. I'll take that.
You know,
I'll take that.
going to be something stupid. Well, I don't care what their favorite color is, but I may care what their favorite animal is.
I like that. I like that. You know, yeah, you tweaked it a little bit. Okay,
Exactly.
we'll
But they're
take it.
going to take it. But you can't work with everybody in the world. There are millions of small businesses out there.
True. And I'm gonna be honest with that. I'm grasping that because I realize real estate is like my backup thing, and it's feeding me. That's what it's feeding me, and
Mhm.
I'm not doing it's big numbers. So I just thought I tell people that all the time, like if I was, I didn't need big numbers to pay my bills. You know what I mean? Like it's feeding you with just a few. So sitting down and doing the reverse budget, like this is how much I want to make and backing it up. And so you find out that you only need like 25 clients or 75 clients. And it's like,
Yeah.
if that's the case, then billion of people in the world, my bad. I was tripping.
Yeah. But again, real estate alone, there's 1.5 million realtors in the country. You can't work with 1.5 million people.
No, I wouldn't. Okay. I'll
It's a
be
mess.
so that's why I had to specify, and I guess that's a message for people too.
Mhm.
Really specify your niche, because at first I was helping people because I had this big seminar here in Atlanta. It was really nice. This was like right before COVID, February 1st.
Okay.
I'm like, I'm just gonna put
So
that
you had
out there.
like
No,
30 days
y'all.
until the world just puckered up.
You know what? It was so awful because I was booming in business in general, like my whole life. And then the shutdown came and I didn't take it serious.
Mhm.
And I was like, then I looked up in July and was like, is this really happening? Go away, stop it. You're ruining this for me. But it was right, so no, we were not, bucking the system or like overthrowing the government. Like it was right before,
Mhm.
but it was really nice. And, you know, hold on. I just had a whole moment where I forgot what I was talking about.
Okay. So
This
COVID, you
the
had the
seminar.
seminar, you were talking with everybody, your business went on pause
Oh,
for.
oh, oh. So they wanted me to help. I'm sorry, because I started picturing masks in my head and was like, these people are I'm having a party.
Yep.
Is it safe? Off topic. Look. So
It
we
happened.
had this. I'm dead. So we were so at the seminar, people were telling me what they wanted me to do. Like I need you to do this. And at first I was trying to do it. And then I realized, okay, well, I have to start telling them I don't do this, I don't offer that, and really find my thing. I can help you there. I can help y'all there. And
Mhm.
then start outsourcing. And I'm a huge fan of affiliate marketing.
Mhm.
I tell them all the time, like I just set the foundation for the business, like the basic, or critique it to actually fix it and implement those things that you need fixed. You might need to go somewhere else. You might need another company or a logo designer. You might need a social media, content curator. You might need a bigger coach. But I've had people say that they went to seminars and just sat there. And I'm like, you didn't even know what to say. It was just like that pre game where they just were like,
People love the learning stage. They don't like the
mm-hmm.
mistake stage.
Well, you find the mistakes in the learning stage.
But that like learn stage where you're sitting in there and you're taking notes and you feel like you're productive, it feels so great. But if you don't actually move into the stage where you start making mistakes, it's pointless. You just wasted
Right.
that seminar.
And that's what they were saying. They were like, I went to this business seminar, and I was like, how was it? Did you get any cards? And they're like, I didn't talk to anybody. I wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared. I didn't know what to say. And that's when I found like, so there's a need for just like that setup, just getting to that point of like, I'm Kiara. I'm based out of here. This is what I do. This is where you can find me. Like they hadn't even got to that point, but they're going to seminars, and they have I
So
met
do you
someone
work
with
with
a
them on like their elevator pitch? Like this is who I am, this is why I do it. That like 30-second.
I pretty much get them up to that point and
Okay.
then outsource. Unless they're like they need like a facelift, then they'll come for like a critique. So
Okay.
basically, brand voice is like we're going from hustling to doing business
Yeah.
because hustling has like no documentation associated with it. No, where can I find you? None of that. The business aspect, we're actually registering things, getting documents, and making it more stable. So I'll work you up to that point, and then I'll tell you now go to that seminar
Yes.
Now go get those cards and flyers made. But if you already have a business, then that's what we do, the critique part, where they'll say, what do you see? Just that fresh perspective. And I love them both depending on how much they love it. For people who are just like, I don't know what to do, help me. Now I'm gonna tell you, I've done some consults of people who I haven't heard from back.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you why. I'm first of all, you know how many no's we get.
And
But
I've learned to love them.
right, so it's all love, but what I do really love, and when I knew this was my passion, was when I might not have heard from you, but I see you doing the things we talked about. I get so excited seeing that conversation meant something. You heard me, you care, and I don't doubt that I want to eventually hear from these people eventually, because they're like touch and going. But like, I've seen a lot of people start doing like lives and like taking pictures, and I'm like, oh crap, we did this.
So the whole reason I'm doing this, I went to college to be a high school teacher. Then I graduated 2 months after Lehman Brothers collapsed. Yeah. But I've always loved that eureka moment in people's eyes.
Yes, the light bulb. It's
Like,
so
I've
beautiful.
always, like, that's the kind of thing, like, even when me and you were talking and I talked about the second Who, the customer avatar, like, why didn't I think of that?
Yes. Yeah, why didn't I think of that?
Like, it's the
And
simplest thing in
we
the
can't think of
world,
everything.
but again, you need somebody with that offensive coordinator perspective.
And that just tells me too, and I hope it tells everyone listening, that you can gain something from everyone. Because I mean, as learned as I am, I was in school for business. I was in school I was business with a marketing concentration. I'm trained in sales, and I do real estate. 2 years in, I'm getting licensed in California, and I still didn't think of it. I have my own avatar. Never thought of going to my clients with it. So that's brilliant to me, and I needed you for that. Like, we need each other for that. We can't think of everything, and we can't think for everyone.
No, as long as they're coming to you from a positive perspective where they want to help, and as long as you're willing to say no to the good ideas and expense for the great ones.
And I had 8 projects opened last year.
Mhm.
I shut it down to 2
Good.
because I had some quite influential people who wanted to invest in me. But out of 5 of them, 3 of them said the same thing, and it made me really step back. One of them was like an ex NFL player. One of them does he buys and sells businesses, and I mean, these people got money, and they were like, "Oh, we just so much greatness in you." And the but was, people like you usually are good at everything and don't take the time to be great at anything. And I was offended for a minute until I realized I have all these projects open. I'm touching them. I'm not finishing any of them, but I'm not giving up on none of them. And I had to humble myself, and I was like, they're right. And I want to be great. So I shut down everything but 2, but just
And
real
that's
estate and
something to
branding.
make sure when you coach people to go to these conferences.
Yes.
Make sure.
Yes.
So we just had our big conference with my coaching company, like the real estate coaching company.
Uh-huh.
What I always tell people, and I probably said it 3 times during the conference, write down, like when you go take your notebook, on the last page, write down every idea you want to implement. When you get done, you put them in order, 1 through however many you write.
Yes.
And you cross out anything after 5, and you only put 1 in at a time.
And you know what I know what's really horrible about me? I had read the one thing when I got this feedback, and I was like, it's hard to implement it. It's that ego, man. It was hard to implement.
It's not even the ego. It's, in my mind, it's ambition.
Look, we have to be humble enough to know that life is not forever.
No.
And you need to prioritize and pick. And I know for me is I can do everything. I got it. Until these people, I met 2 of them in a mastermind class. I love masterminds.
Yep.
First of all, I love being around like-minded people, and I don't feel icky. We can talk all day. Like, I just love it. And you learn something every time. There's always another book. Like, it's amazing. So I had to sit back and say, 3 people just told you that. And you're looking at your goals. Like you said, I had 1 through 8 on this paper. So it was amazing to do that. And it's been amazing since I did that. Yeah. Because I said, I'm gonna focus on these 2. Well, actually, I was just like, I'm gonna focus on real estate. but the branding kept coming in. So they
So
said it's
that
okay.
was like,
Oh,
I'm not a religious person even remotely, but something was trying to tell you that.
so and you're gonna think this is funny then. So one of them said that one of the my mentors said that's one is your daily bread
Hmm.
and one is your career. And I was like, what's the difference? And he was like, real estate takes time to close.
Hmm.
What do you do for gas money, lunch money, go buy a pair of shoes money? That's your brand critique. And you need to have that. Or it can be, and just for everyone, it can be your Uber, it can be braiding on the side while you're working on your apparel store. You can be braiding here on weekends, like you could be I know plenty of people who like try to sell jello shots on the side, but they're trying, doing tax services, like your daily bread, your chump change, So that made me feel okay,
Yeah.
because now I'm like, okay, well, I still do real estate, but for my daily bread, like you said, the thing I wake up and I do my follow-ups and I do my consults and my calendar is dedicated to, that's the branding. And I enjoy doing it. So when I get a client out of real estate, I don't mind working with them at all, now, because my life doesn't depend on it.
No, and now you've got something, and now you can have that abundance mindset that you're not. The biggest danger every salesperson goes to is having that desperation, that hunger, and trying to
Yes, no.
force it. You can't force it. You can't force relationships.
No, and that feels good because now, like, first of all, I've never been like that. I'm working on it. But so let me ask you this too. Like while I'm
Of
getting
course.
while I'm getting you on here. So I have what's the nice way to tell people that they're getting on your nerves? Like how do you like get that edge off of conversations?
So my favorite sentence that I use, I don't quite say getting on your nerves, but
You took a deep breath.
I'll do this strategy, actually. I'll tell you this. So it's FBI techniques. If you've ever read, it's Christian Hadid, Permission to Screw Up. She goes into it in really good detail.
Okay,
Feeling
I like that.
impact. And this is a communication skill she teaches everybody in her companies, and like feeling behavior impact. So
Okay.
anytime I give bad news, I like to preface it by saying,
Okay.
I'm going to be blunt with you.
Okay.
Because once you say that, they brace for impact, and you can say pretty much
Okay.
anything.
Okay. So I'm using that one because
So,
I've got this you get that awkward moment where you have that plastic smile, but your eyes are just, you're like, okay, that's enough, So I'm like, I need an exit.
yes. So look, then when you do, it's the FBI feeling behavior. Look, I'm going to be really blunt with you. I'm a little bit irritated right now because you did blank. And that's hurt
Okay.
my business from you made me late for my next client, whatever it is.
Oh, I love this.
But
Yes,
it's feeling,
because that's real.
yeah.
And because that's real. That is real. People will try to monopolize your time, put themselves first. I've had people show up,
Mhm.
like, having appointments. I've had people show up early and be like, I got something to do later, so I'm here now. And I'm like, oh, so are they? And they had an appointment.
But
So now,
yeah, make sure you always start it off with the feeling as opposed to calling out the behavior directly. Tell them what you are feeling.
oh, yes. So I'm going to be really blunt with you right now.
Yeah.
You're disrespectful as hell, okay?
Yes.
You're early. You have an hour and a half, get out.
But
But you know what? That was almost comical when I just said it. Like I can imagine someone saying that to me. It's like, okay,
yeah, but
my
rather
bad.
than saying you're disrespectful because you're attacking them, you say I'm feeling disrespected.
I got you. I feel.
Yeah,
It's
because
not
the
on
reason
you.
is like they can argue the behavior. They can say, "Oh, I wasn't really late. I wasn't that early." But when you say I'm irritated by, I feel disrespected by, they can't argue with your feelings. You're the only one feeling them.
No, I love it. Yeah, you that I love that. That was some tea in case people didn't know. Because
Yeah.
that's something I wasn't ready for too. A lot of the times as entrepreneurs, we're ready to, like you said, we're ready to get our personal brand out there.
Hmm.
And then we start dealing with the real life of sometimes there's people who are not happy. Sometimes people want to return things. Sometimes people want to cancel. And people have meltdowns about that.
Yeah,
And I
and
can help
why?
everybody but me.
Yeah. Okay. So get more business. Go. Left foot, right foot, repeat. Keep going.
exactly. And you know what? People are. I'm getting better with that. I've had people visually, like people verbally and visually say, "Are you okay? You're good." And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "What's going on with you?" And I'm like, "You know what? I think I heard at that 3 year mark, which will be January 16th for me coming up.
Okay.
I heard at that 3 year mark, you just kind of,
Well,
I'm here. I'm just here. I understand now. Pretty much everything's happened to me that could happen. I've had people cancel,
mhm.
request refunds. So now it's not killing me. It's not like I
Mm.
can't believe that happened. It's like, oh yeah, that happens sometimes. Kind of getting to that point where that happens.
You need to get punched in the face enough times to realize you're not made out of glass.
Yeah, I'm gonna be. That's where I'm at now. And they're like, I can't believe it because I remember in the beginning stages, every time something went wrong, I'm like, girl, I can't believe this, or I would be crying. They're like, what's wrong? I'm like, I can't believe. I hate her. And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, girl, I don't want to be an entrepreneur. I've had people say like, I love my job. I couldn't deal with that,
Mm.
and I've been like, I can't believe you said that, but this really did hurt. Like when you work for yourself, it touches your emotions. That like it's a gut punch. It is.
Well,
It
because
every no
everything
is a
you
gut
don't
punch.
have anyone you could shift blame to when it's your business. You're in charge of every
Yes.
single decision. You can't walk away and say, "Well, my boss made me do it this way."
No, you eat that. You eat everything.
Yeah.
I've had stuff pop up and be like, oh, I have to pay for that. Like now, like they said, someone to call and be like, hey, your virtual office thing didn't ring, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot. And then I'm like, oh my god, how many people tried to call me today? Like everything is so serious. So I will say this too before we get off, something super important while we're talking for people listening. I have gotten super strong with my morning and night ritual.
Good.
I'm not very religious, but to say I've become way more spiritual. And it's crazy because I remember before I quit my job, I remember sitting on YouTube listening to all of those videos about waking up early and exercising and eating. And I was like, I'm not doing that shit. you know,
I'm a night person
I
myself. I'm not. No, I'm not an early morning person, and never
I'm
will.
a morning person, but they was talking about 4 and 5 o'clock, and I was like, no. And then they were talking about exercise on a regular basis. I do that when I want to. Then they were talking about eating clean. I hadn't heard of half those foods. Let's just be real. At this age, you got everything kind of you're in your ways.
Yes.
But they were saying the key to my success was, and it was this abstract things like meditating. And I remember thinking, they're lying, they're full of shit. They're just trying to,
Yeah.
like now I'm like, people, hey, y'all know what time it is. Like, I have to run. I have to drink my water. I drink tea. I don't drink sodas at all. And the thing about it is,
You're in
Red,
Atlanta
to
and
be
you don't drink
honest,
soda. They don't run you out of town for not like bowing before Coca-Cola.
let me tell you, I wrecked my car and didn't have it for like 2, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Didn't miss it. The people who had my car said, you don't drive? You're a real estate agent that doesn't drive? I try to walk as much as I can, bike, like I walk to check my growth, like to get my mail. Like I do not, like I try to be out. But I'll say this was not something, if you're an entrepreneur that's getting out here, or if you're just thinking about it, it's not something, it was something that came very naturally. It wasn't anything I planned, if you want me to be quite honest. It was one of those things where the business needed me. So I needed to go to bed early because they needed me, you know what I mean? Or it needed me. I needed to eat cleaner because I can't be in the bathroom or farting while I'm like, seriously, you're trying to be cute and uncomfortable because you are putting that, eating bad,
Well,
or
I see. It's a little like people look at me and they just assume I'm made of farts. So
I cannot stand. But well, I'm a girl, like, and
yeah, it's
can you
different
just
for you. Like for
imagine
me, like
trying to, I'm out trying to be cute and I'm talking in front of folks and I'm trying to ease, but and I'm gonna be honest, I talk to a lot of people and men and women, and they're like, my stomach hurts. I feel heavy. I'm tired. Oh, I got to go buy a new suit. And it's like that type, I had those same issues. So I just naturally started gravitating towards, you know what, I got to do this later. I'm not going to eat that. Or
Mhm.
you know what, I have to do this tomorrow. Or like I took 6 consults one day. I was feeling like Superwoman. I was happy to have the business. I
Mhm.
was exhausted. I was crying. I was like, now I don't do more than 3 consults a day.
Okay.
I thought I could handle that. But the way I do mine is I actually give them homework and I do homework,
Yes.
because we're before we get to that stage of where you're got things automated. So
Mhm.
we walk through everything at least once. So it's like, if you do, when you do this, I can do this for you, or I'm about to do this for you, and then I need you to do that. So even though the consult is 30 to 45 minutes, I might create some content with you, or you might send me your logo, and then I might send you 3 different pieces to see how you like the color scheme. So I have to create this stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like,
So
oh,
each
I'll get back to
consult
you, get back to you.
is really like, even though you block 45 minutes, it's 2+ hours of work each time.
I would say about 2. And that's being fair, because I send you business notes about what we just talked about, which basically include like, I need you to do this, this, and this in the consult. Once and then I tell you what I'm going to do. And then once I receive payment, I pretty much start. And to be honest, I pretty much can tell who's gonna actually become a client. So I kind of already get off the phone and start working on their stuff. But I have this high standard of, I want them to have their stuff in 24 to 48 hours. So I get up. I All of my friends work. I work for myself. I get up at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. The kids are virtual. I still get up and do that because I need to walk around the house, drink tea, sit outside and say, "What's today?"
Mhm.
You know.
I call
And
it
then when
like defragging, like the old PC
yes,
had to do, to just move files around.
and they, people, when I swear to you, I remember, how, what keys to success, and what did this celebrity say about their success. And I remember thinking they were just so full of shit. Like, so you telling me going to sleep on like at 8 o'clock gonna make you have a better day? No, seriously, it does. Like, my phone goes on silent at 9, and then I'm asleep by 10. If I'm up on my computer, then I will give myself till 8, 9 to get up, because I make sure I get that sleep. But I roll like a robot. I'll take a nap in the middle of the day if I need it. But when I'm producing quality. But it did take some time for that. So if you are, don't, I guess my point is, don't try to, I'm going to do these things and my business is going to be great. Like, your body is going to adjust to being an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
Your body's gonna adjust to it, your schedule's gonna adjust to it, your sleep's gonna, my diet's gonna adjust to it. After so many coffee meetings, I don't want coffee anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I mean,
I
I'm
haven't
having
run into
all
that problem yet.
well, you see how I haven't had anything and I'm like this. You should see me on coffee. But if I have like 4 consults at Starbucks, I'm like, okay, what the hell? What else y'all sell? Like, okay, can I get a pink drink? Can I try this? But it's like, you naturally adjust to that. Or there's sometimes I'm not thirsty. I'll get a muffin or something. Or like, let's take this outside. Like, just adjusting. You don't have to force yourself into it. Like, as your business grows, you'll naturally change as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And I like it. I like it. Everyone around me is different. Every family member wants to start a business now. People from high school are starting to inbox me like, you know what, I want to do something.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean everyone's going to do it, but like you said, that light bulb, that, seeing that you're inspired,
Yeah, that eureka
inspiring
moment.
people. That's beautiful to me. Also, before we get off here, for people with social media, I just want to shoot this out there real quick too. Do not get discouraged about the numbers on your business page not jumping.
Business pages get no engagement whatsoever nowadays.
Not. So I've
None.
had people crying that they haven't got any likes. And I'm like, go look at mine. They all right, But they're
Um,
like.
So we've actually connected with somebody on Facebook, like who works
Uh-huh.
at Facebook. He's actually the like liaison to real estate for Facebook. His name's Scott Shapiro.
Well, I
Yeah.
was gonna say, well, he probably in my inbox.
Yeah. Well, no,
No.
because he's not somebody that really
No,
knows.
I'm messing. I'm
Yeah.
messing.
Stories. He literally said flat out, there's a reason why we put it up at the top.
You know what? That's funny you said that. I posted a selfie the other day. They got 600 views.
Yeah. It's the only
And on
place
my
to
story,
get
that was
real
the
organic growth right now because of the way the algorithms are set up. If you're doing a business page, post everything on stories.
That is funny. But I've had people like literally crying. I'm like, look,
Mhm.
social media is for once you have made a warm connect and they're pretty happy, they're thinking about it. That's for them to go ponder on, just to back you up. The only people who are going to go there are people you send there mostly. But it's not a popularity contest. You don't, because that's another thing. They start trying to put their new Jordans on there because maybe people look at it, and I'm like, what does that have to do with your with your food? Like, you selling food, but you just put your
Well,
J's on there. Like,
again,
no.
you want them to have their personality too, but there's a level where like the brand is the personality, not you.
Right. But they get discouraged because they're like, no one's looking at it. So now I'm going to add me. And I'm like, no.
No.
Also, when you start scaling, I don't want people, and I've already had this problem and I already have addressed it. I don't want people to start saying, "Where is Kiara?"
Mm,
I want to talk to her. So now I go hire someone to make calls for me. And they're like, "Where's the girl in the picture?" If you look at my stuff, you'll see that I have myself as the executive director.
mhm.
And then I kind of just like start going with my logo. Because
Well,
at some point, like you said, you wanna be somewhere else.
and it's good that you're in business coaching that way because you can actually say to them at that point, yeah, I'm teaching you to run a business. If I'm doing everything myself, that's not a business, that's a sales job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And honestly, there are some really good people out here
Mhm.
who also do what I do. So I'd like to say I affiliate market. If I can't, like I said, I can't handle everyone. I'll refer out in a heartbeat. I'll send them to you.
If they
I
aren't the
mean,
right fit, it's not the right, like, good. It's just going to be a headache at that point if you guys aren't seeing eye to eye.
and even in real estate, we're taught to give people options. At least two or three lenders, at least two or three inspectors. So I'm no different, and it's okay. But I don't take, especially now that I can see insights as well. I know I'm like, so this many people looked at it, but nobody liked it, and two people shared it.
And that's
If
good.
I w- if
That's
I was
good.
so shallow, right? If I was so shallow to be upset because it's crazy. They get upset. They're like, no one likes my business stuff, but they like when I post my hair. And I'm like, so they saw your business stuff. They just didn't say anything. They'll
Mhm.
call you when they need you. Okay, just
Yeah.
keep posting consistently. Okay.
It's the idea of just staying in front of them. Visibility trumps ability.
Exactly. Because guess what? I haven't said anything. I don't get in people's face. I post my little stuff,
Mhm.
and I've had more and more people say, "What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? Or can you help me?" It took some time, but that's all it is. It's a time game. I would say it took about 3 weeks before people start, because you know what they think.
Mhm.
What the hell is this? That's what they think.
Well,
What is this? What is she
social
doing?
media, I love the Jim Collins good to great, the flywheel analogy. That is the idea that you don't know what actually starts turning social media. It's not post one, it's not post 30. There's nothing that magically switches it unless you're one of the very few people who go really viral.
Yeah, the viral ones.
Yeah, but that is not like companies have tried for years to make people go viral. It doesn't work.
No,
No.
no, and they've tried some different
They've
stuff.
yeah, like Old Spice had it right once and hasn't been able to replicate it again. They've
I,
tried.
I I mean, and that's pretty much every millennial's dream to go viral. But it's no, and I agree. It was this, like I said, this at first people were like, "What is that? What are you doing?" It behooves me all the time. People still call me and say, "Hey, I didn't know you were doing real estate," and I'm like 2 years in. But it's like, what do you mean? So you didn't see me post the house? You didn't see me with the soul sign? You didn't
No.
see any of that? And it's I mean, it just takes people to see if you're going to be trending or not. Back to the beginning of the conversation. Is this something you're really doing? Are you an expert, or are you just trending? When they figure out that you're consistent, that you're really in it, that's when people start saying, okay, well, maybe she knows what she's talking about. Let me listen. Let me see. Because at first, you're just another person
Mhm.
doing the same thing that, I mean, they've seen on social media. How many friends are we allowed to have? Like 5,000 on Facebook. So
Yeah, I
how
think
many
it's
opportunities?
5,000 is the cap now. I think it's 3,000 for LinkedIn is the cap there, but it's
So
different.
how many agents? I
Like
don't know. LinkedIn is
connection.
killing me.
Yeah.
LinkedIn's killing me. Like agent, lender. I'm like, who told y'all I want to be friends with agents and lenders?
And you should to a degree, but honestly, there's better groups for that. Like you're better off in like Facebook Real Estate Mastermind if you're trying to connect with people for referrals.
For real.
There's
And
so many better tools rather than use up your LinkedIn profile, especially when you have a branding business.
when you have a branding business, come talk to me. But I told my takeaways are, for one, the pillars.
Yep.
Like you said, not to be super spiritual, but such a divine conversation, as far as I wouldn't have been able to have this conversation with anyone other than another professional. Like, it takes a peer, you know what I mean? Like, I couldn't go and have this chit chat with a friend, or have this chit chat with, somebody that's gonna say, "Well, girl, you're doing good to me. Congratulations!" Like, this was really, I really appreciate it.
Yeah. And
Um,
so I know you've got to get to your nighttime ritual.
I'm dead. Yes.
Yeah.
So the
So
pillars,
give everybody all the places they could connect with you, where they could find you, where they could reach out, all of those things.
the best thing to do is to go to my website, which is www.byera, and it's BYYIRA.com. That's where you can book everything. That's pretty much where I drive all my traffic. And then I am Byera on everything else. That's my handle, BYYIRA. And you'll be able to see everything from there, including little glimpse of me being myself.
Perfect. Well, everybody's gotten that too. So we've got a really good feel for what you're excited about, what you're passionate about, all of those things.
Yeah, we can't leave that out. So there'll be no surprises.
Yeah.
I
But
thank you so
you so
much.
much for your time. I really appreciate it. This has been an awesome conversation. And
No,
I will
thank you.
catch you next time.
Deal. I'll be back.